Hi, all of you general math students. Back on the second day's lesson. We're doing the first half of page 148. Okay, so if you want to get your books out and turn to those, I'll explain how to do these problems. I hope you guys are all well. Things are doing well for me. My mother-in-law's hanging in there. My husband's obviously quarantined, but I'm just taking care of everybody. Okay? All right, so I'm at the beginning of page 148. So the first thing that we have to talk about are least common multiples. Multiples mean we want that number and things getting bigger. For instance, like the least common multiples of 5 would be 5 times 1, 5 times 2, times 3, because we're multiplying things together. So if I was listing the multiples of 5, I would write down 5, because 5 is a multiple of 5, and then keep adding 5s all the time, or doing 5 times 1, 5 times 2, 15, 20. Now notice there is no end because it goes on forever since we're getting bigger, because there's an infinite number of multiples of 5. Okay, so then we also talk about, these are multiples. So if I were also talking about the multiples of 6, let's go a little higher here. 25, 30, 35, okay, and on and on. If I were talking about the multiples of 6, we would have 6, 12, 18, 24, we're just adding 6 each time, 30, 36, on and on and on. Now, if I'm talking about least common multiples, these are multiples right here. Let's analyze what this says. Least means smallest, right? Common means they share that same one. In common, like if you have features in common with your parents, it's the ones that you have the same of. So we want the smallest multiple that's in common here. So we can see there's no 5 here, there's no 10 here, there's no 15, there's no 20. But look, they both have a 30, and that's the smallest one. There'll be more because we keep going up, but we want the least common multiple. So the least common multiple of 5 and 6 is 30. So that's what we're working with on the first thing. Let's do one more. Okay? Let's find the least common multiple. Oops. Least common multiple of 20 and 25. The bigger the number, the more you might have to list out. But I think this one's going to be okay. Just a second. So I'm going to start listing the multiples of 20. 20 and 20 is 40, and 20, notice we just go up by 2 on each of these and keep the 0. 60, 80, 100, 120. Hopefully that's enough. If it's not enough and I don't have one in common with this, I just have to go out further. And then 25 is 25. I'm just counting like by quarters, by coins, quarters, okay? 50 cents, 75 cents, $1. Oops, look, we have one in common. There's no 25, no 50, no 75. But 100 is there, so my LCM is 100. Least common multiple. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay, the next thing we want to talk about is factors. Factors are the tiny pieces I can break them into. So I'm talking about factors. Let's do the factors of 20. I do the two numbers that, all the two numbers that, pairs of numbers that multiply to get each other, and I like to put them in order. So it's 1 times 20, right? So the 1 will go here and the 20 will be the highest one. When we meet in the middle, that's when we're done. I know that 2 goes in because it ends in an even number. 2 times 10, right? So 2 and 10 go in, okay? 3 doesn't go in because 2 plus 0 is 2. 2 isn't divisible by 3. 4 goes in because remember it goes into 20, 40, 60, and 80. 4 times 5, and notice we met in the middle, and so there's no more, and so these are the factors of 20. Okay, let's do one more. Let's do 15. That'd be 1 times 15. Don't forget those ones. 1 times something. What else goes in there? 2 doesn't because it doesn't end in a even number. 3 does because 1 plus 5 is 6. So we know that 3 goes in, and that would be 3 times 5. If you have a hard time finding the bigger number, you just do 15 divided by 3, since we know 3 goes in, and punch that in your calculator, and that'll be 5. Okay, so those are factors. And the last thing we want to talk about is prime or composite. Now, both of these are composite numbers because prime means only 2 factors. Well, notice here we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 factors, and here we have 4. So these are both composite, okay? Composite means more than 2. And then, so prime would be like 7. 1 times 7, and that's all that goes in, so this would be prime. Now, there's one exception to prime or composite, and that would be, can you still see down there? Yes. The number 1 is neither prime or composite because it only has 1 factor. 1 is the only number that goes into 1. Okay? Every number other than 1 is either prime or composite. Okay, so your first assignment here is 1 through 26 all. I hope that's enough explanation. Have fun. Bye-bye.